Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me. It is Mike Lepre, King Michael here for Legit Paranormal. It is August 15th, 2021. We had a guest for tonight, Mr. Dave Spinks, but it almost feels like the Tyson fight, I guess, because I waited a long time for Mr. Spinks, and he was gone. He was just gone before I even got a chance to sit down. Joining me, as always, Genius Kev. Genius One. Are you shocked at the non-arrival of Mr. Spinks?
Yes, I'm no arrival, no show. Not happy about it. Not happy at all.
You still got the tan, though.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that's never going. I was in DC over the weekend with my girlfriend. We went down for her best friend's housewarming party. Spent 2 days at a rooftop pool. It was great. But on the way home last night, we're driving up the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, and we see it's a 2-lane highway. I see headlights coming. I'm like, those are too far to the right. There's a car coming the wrong way down a 2-lane highway, left lane, like coming on about 6 or 8 car lengths away. I figured out where he was. Everyone's trying to get over. I get over with
not
about
slowing down.
Nope, not slowing down. I got over with about 2 car lengths to go. He flew by. I looked in the rearview mirror for a couple of seconds, and then we had to kind of just like take a bunch of deep breaths and kind of recompose ourselves. Absolutely terrifying.
What type of car?
I don't know. All I know is the windows were tinted, and it wasn't it was like a sedan type thing, like an Accord, something like that.
Was it a bank robbery?
If so, they picked a really bad way to go, I think. But I was just scared.
Speaking of really bad ways to go, Kev.
Yeah.
Buddy, there. Buddy, what's going on, pal?
Oh, nothing much, man. It's not as exciting as Kev for me this weekend. I had 1 day off, and I drank some beers, and then I went back to work today. So I'm a little disappointed that Mr. Spinks isn't joining us. However, on the other hand, I'm a little bit happy. The agenda, the new agenda for tonight's show kind of is like goes in theme with my beer of the week this week, gentlemen. We're going to go through some various different paranormal things.
Stick to your beer, buddy.
And we're going to see which one's the best. So the chosen one is the beer that I'm drinking this week. It's made by Tilted Bond Brewery down there in Exeter, Rhode Island, right before the Exeter Veteran Cemetery. Lovely place. And it is 8.5% alcohol by volume. It's a very delicious beer, and I'm very excited for this new and changed agenda this evening. So there we go.
Why do you drink beer out of a champagne bottle? Like, what's the deal? Glass. Like, what's the deal?
They're just tall cans, Mike.
No. The glass. The glass.
Oh, the glass. This is in honor of Dave, from the former owner of Proclamation. He's former because he's deceased. He died last Christmas. He got cancer on Thanksgiving, died on Christmas, left an 11-year-old daughter. So they did a whole bunch of these, series to honor Dave. He's like 45 years old, died of cancer. And revolutionized beer here in Rhode Island, along with this company here, Tilted Barn. So cheers to Dave and Tilted Barn and not Dave Spinks tonight. So there we go.
All right. Here we do go. So what we're going to do is this. And this kind of goes more for Kev than it does for you, buddy, because you were in Ocean State Paranormal, right? You've been dealing with ghosts and stuff like that for how many years now?
Ocean State Paranormal since 2012, so 9 years, and before that, investigating before that for 3 years, so 12 years now.
No, so 12 years. All right, and you're a youngster. So Kev, that makes us like the guys that you can't teach old guys new stuff, but we've been learning for a year, right? And we are just learning it. We're getting more and more acquainted. Would you agree?
Definitely.
So I have built my opinions on what has been more impressive to me or what has been more believable in the realm of paranormal. From cryptids to UFOs to ghosts to elementals to demons to angels to everything, right? I kind of got an idea of where it lies, in my opinion. from what I've learned. So what I got here is a ranking system, and I'm just going to bring this up so you can see it a little bit better. So there's a bunch of different like paranormals, I'm going to call them, boxes that, represent some sort of like theory or creature, character, whatever. We're going to rank it on where we believe it. This would be kind of a little bit of an honest, like, hey, this is what we really believe, and this is where we are at maybe like 10 months in. So let me go over this. This is like, what do we want to call this?
What is it? I can't see it.
All right, this is the Loch Ness Monster. This is like a grizzly. All right, let's start with this friggin' thing.
Can you make it big?
No, how am I going to make this thing big? That thing's ridiculous. I don't even know what it is. Let's skip that. Can we skip that, please?
Skip that one.
Jesus, Christopher.
Go to what you know, Mike.
Loch Ness Monster. D. Now, S is we believe it. D is it absolutely does not exist. You got C, B, and A in the middle. Loch Ness Monster, I'm like a D. I just don't think it's possible. I just don't think it is. And every time I you know what? I just don't think it is. How about that? Buddy, what are your thoughts on the Loch Ness?
With the Loch Ness Monster, I think at one time it might have been. It might have been like a prehistoric creature, sure. But in recent years, they've done so much with like underwater sonar,
yep,
radar. And they haven't seen shit. So I don't. I think it's extinct.
Kev?
Yeah, I agree. I would leave it at D. I was always skeptical on that one. I don't know how it got so famous. So yeah, I'm fine with a D.
Okay. All right. So I figured out what this one is. This is that the Mexican the screaming no, this is the girl that killed her kids when she thought her husband, when she found her husband cheating on her, she drowned her kids. And since then she's been walking, and she's always in a white dress, and she's crying about her kids. And if you hear her voice and it gets closer, it's supposed to be bad luck for you. I forget what the name it is, but we had somebody on the show explain it to me. If you remember, I was like, have you ever heard of that? And he's like, no, yeah, that's in Mexico, and she's called whatever. But it's a walking spirit that is still looking for her kids. There's YouTube videos that pop up all the time, but you know what I mean? That could just be them acting. But there's a lot of weird videos you'll catch of like her walking in her white. It's always in a white dress. She's got long black hair. This one they got her with white hair. What are our thoughts on this? Has anybody even heard of it other than me, buddy?
I've heard of it through you. I've heard of it through different paranormal people. I think you got to look at different cultures it's coming from. It's coming from Mexico. It's very superstitious people. They not only believe in that, they believe in other mythological creatures. I'm just willing to pass it off as superstition, and people just like maybe some kind of energy is coming from people putting all the energy into the actual creature itself, is creating its own energy. Other than that, I doubt that. I think it's just superstition, and people are just cuckoo.
Where do you want to rank it? So where do you want to put it?
I put it at the bottom, Mike.
All right, Kev.
Oh wait, hold on. Wait a minute here. Is it supposed to be like some kind of a ghost or some kind of a physical creature like a cryptid? Is it a ghost?
A spirit. That one's the one I'm speaking of is a spirit.
Yeah. All right. So I gotta go at least C, because why are we gonna we believe in a lot of other similar stories in the U.S. I'm not gonna go D because I've never seen it. I think I gotta go C here.
All right, that's fair enough.
Well, Lottie freaking Doc, Kev, but you didn't do that over the Loch Ness Monster.
Loch Ness Monster, yeah, come on, we all know about that. We know that's a ploy. We know that.
We all know. All right, let's go with this thing. This is the Chupacabra.
That's nice.
Is it?
Yeah, Chupacabra had wings. I thought. No,
it's not the.
No, they're a land-based creature.
Oh wait, this is the moth? This is the moth guy. My bad.
Mothman, yeah, Mothman.
My bad. It's all right. The Mothman is like Bigfoot in the sense that it's not like an ape and a man. It's more of a moth and a man. But somehow it still grew big, which is where I don't get it. Because I get it, if you mix us with like an ape or a gorilla, you might get a larger species. But I can't see you mixing us with any kind of moth and getting a larger species. Does that make any sense?
I'm not sold at all on it. It's just like a moth. It's just like a dude with wings, right?
Dude, it's not a dude. It's a moth that became like a man moth. It's got a moth head and big moth wings, and somehow it escapes and hides. I don't know how to. How do you hide that thing? Where are you putting that if you kill it? Where do you hide it?
According to Wikipedia, in West Virginia folklore, the Mothman is a humanoid creature reportedly seen in Point Pleasant area from November 15th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. I just think it's just people's wild imaginations out there in West Virginia, out in the mountains.
Nothing to do.
I don't know. Maybe not enough TV on where they're at.
So you come up with a Mothman. Yeah, why not? Right?
I'm not sold. You don't have me.
Shits and giggles, Kev. Let's come up with a Mothman. What do you think?
Well, a lot of people, like, unfortunately, we don't have Dave on because he's an expert in West Virginia folklore, and I think he wrote a book about the Mothman. But anyway, there's a movie, Mothman Prophecies. Apparently, people think they see it, like, to foretell a disaster, or ahead of a natural disaster, things like that. If not a natural disaster, but if a bridge is going to collapse, people claim they saw it beforehand. Personally, I can't get behind a moth. I mean, a moth, like
man,
a moth. I can't. So I'm gonna have to go C. It's a moth.
Yeah, I put him at D to be completely honest, but I'll leave him. I mean, I'll leave him at C. You know, if you think he's a spirit, but if we just think he's a moth man, then he's a D to me because I don't see that guy stumbling around. Do you?
Well, he's supposed to fly. I think that's. Yeah.
But you see him in one very particular area in one part of one country in the world, and that's it. I don't know. I'm not.
D.
Nobody's ever seen it. I don't know.
All right. This is the fact that we are. That's a frog. That's Frogman.
Frogman.
What the is Frogman?
Frogman. Let me see.
I'm not making that up. That's Frogman.
Frogman.
I'm loud on your somebody's TV.
No, never mind.
Kev, have you ever heard of Frogman?
I have never heard of Frogman.
Frogman.
Are you sure that's his name?
Frogman cryptid, yeah. Hold on. In Ohio folklore, the Loveland Frog is a legendary humanoid frog described as standing roughly 4 feet tall, allegedly spotted in Loveland, Ohio. Again, one single place out in the middle of nowhere. No.
So you're in Loveland, Ohio. You got nothing else to do but come up with a 4-foot frogman. It wasn't a guy in scuba gear. It was if you noticed, it's an actual frog that's 4 feet tall.
Right.
Kev, other than Kermit.
I mean, in West Virginia is one thing because it's super rural and there's a lot of mountains and there's a lot of out in the middle of nowhere type of life. Driven through West Virginia, it's a beautiful state, but it's really rural. Ohio has so many sports teams. Name all their sports teams, Mike. You probably couldn't in like 30 seconds, dude. How much do they have to do? They have the Football Hall of Fame out there in Canton. They have so much going on in Ohio, and you're making up a freaking frog band. What is that? I'm not buying the frog band.
All right, so you're saying it's a D?
Yeah, that's me. I'm skeptic.
I'm going to go all in on Buddy with this one. I don't like the super localized ones. I don't like ones like that. Like, why bother? Like,
yeah,
I don't
one town in the middle of nowhere. Get out of here. Yeah,
all right. Let's go with this is one of those Skinwalkers.
Skinwalker.
Oh, is it?
There's a lot of videos of these people, like on people's doorbell cameras and shiznizzle like that, as Snoop would so politely say. I've seen some YouTube videos on the Skinwalkers, and I don't buy them. I don't really believe them. I mean, yeah, I guess they could, right? I mean, anything can happen. You know what I mean?
For anybody who doesn't know what a skinwalker is, in Navajo culture, a skinwalker, which I can't even pronounce the word as it's spelled, is a type of harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. The term is never used for healers. So it could be like an element. It could be their understanding of an elemental, maybe, or maybe something like that. So I would put that maybe in the D, or maybe even or maybe like the middle there, because
No,
Kev, no one out here.
I'm going B. Like those things terrify me. Like the frogman, not really. I'm not really afraid of the moth. But skinwalkers are terrifying.
Kev, if you come running into the bar and you're like, I was attacked by a skinwalker, I'd be like, holy shit. But if you said to me, I just got attacked by a 4-foot frog, I'd be like, Kev, slow down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't jump to your aid. I wouldn't be like, yeah, 4-foot frog. All right, buddy. You know, good luck. All right. So moving on to yet another cryptid. We have my favorite, the Kraken.
Oh.
Release the Kraken.
The October. I mean, the octopus. The October.
It's the Kraken, but the Kraken was illustrated, looking like an octopus in very early. I mean, it wasn't our Clash of the Titans Kraken that we've all come to know and love.
Right. Well, the Kraken rum, that's quite delicious too.
No, the Kraken, K-R-A, maybe another A. Kev, you ever have like somebody like if they held a gun to your head, you had to spell tomorrow? You ever get worried about shit like that? Tomorrow, T-M-M-M-M. How many? It's like I can't spell Kraken. So, buddy, you got to figure it out there, pal.
Kraken is the Kraken. Is a colossal legendary sea monster said to dwell off the coast of Norway and Greenland. In 2012, scientists discovered a giant squid that resembled a kraken. So, I think it might be a I think I would go yes on this one because they discovered a giant squid. Sailors for hundreds of years have talked about the giant squid, and I'm going to go yes.
So you're going to say yes, but what? Doesn't exist anymore? It's a
I don't think, or maybe it's so like they go so deep in the ocean, and there's probably so few of them that we don't maybe see them as much as you would, you know?
Now the Kraken was completely different in the first Clash of the Titans when we were kids, if you remember. He had like more of a beast body with arms. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
All right. So I think a giant squid, if we're just focusing this on the giant squid aspect, can totally exist. 100% can exist. We've already found recently what the big red squid or something like that. Right? An octopus is there anything smarter than an octopus? I say no. I mean, they're smarter than us, you know? So you ever see them turn into rocks? Sons of bitches will turn into like a rock, or it'll turn into like a crab. Whatever goes near it, just like the octopus becomes. It's amazing. And then calamari is delicious. Now, where do you want to leave this, Kev?
You're missing. You're first of all, we're combining squid and octopi.
Oh my bad.
It's got to be at least that. There has to be. We know there are giant squid. Like that picture, I can't really see exactly, but they usually tell the stories with wood. There were wooden ships, like single-masted ships, and so the thing looks humongous against it. They obviously existed at some point. I think we gotta up the ante a little bit here. I would go A with the Kraken. Wow. If you guys want to compromise, we can do B.
B. I say B. We stop at B. Yeah? No?
Buddy?
I would go. I would put it higher than Skinwalkers, to be honest with you.
Okay.
They've found the evidence of a giant squid. So I mean, there's been people who have like reported seeing it. With I don't know, Indian culture. I don't know. I don't know about Skinwalker. But anyway, go on.
Yo, buddy.
Good.
You work in Bridgewater. If I were you, I wouldn't badmouth Skinwalkers too much.
I'm not bad. I'm a show me kind of guy, and I don't know about Skinwalkers. But
for everybody that's watching live, if you see us trying to figure out what one of these creatures are, and you know better than we do, you can just put it in the chat and correct our dumbasses. The name is Dumas. Next, Kev, we're gonna go over to this. This is the mermaid guy. I don't know if you ever saw this video. It's a video where the submarine is really deep, and then out of nowhere, this hand hits the thing, and you see the mermaid swim. It's not a guy, it's a girl. You see the mermaid swim away. Now, it looks super legitimate to me. It scares me the way it looks. If you ever get to watch the actual video, mermaids have been talked about throughout time, right? Throughout time. My only issue with a mermaid is whenever they depict a mermaid as a beautiful woman that's also like out to get you, and take your life. I feel like it just goes back to the whole chauvinistic style of just the way everything was built. You know what I mean? Like, of course, it's a woman that's the bad thing at sea.
Of course,
a woman pops up and causes trouble, but of course. So, what do you guys think about mermaids in general? I don't know if you guys have all watched this video. I have. I'm gonna put it at a B for mermaids.
I'd like to see the video. I've never seen the video. I've always considered mermaids to be a tale of sailors, or like you said, a chauvinistic approach to say that women are evil and trying to bring men down. Some of them are, but not all of them are, and most of them are actually pretty lovely and nice. So yeah, no, I'm gonna go with the mermaids.
I agree with Buddy. No way. I would say D. If you insist, I'll go C. But I would definitely say not happening.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow. All right, I'll drop it down to C. But the video is pretty damn good. I'll tell you that much, and I'll tell you that much right now. All right. God only knows what this thing is. It's the biggest mouthed eel ever. It's
Is it from North Providence?
Look at this thing. This is like the crypt that won't shut the up. This is put him in the bathroom. This cryptid. What is this? What am I looking at, buddy?
I have no idea, dude. I don't know what that is. It looks looks like the whale shark. How they open their mouth really wide and they just eat stuff. But I couldn't.
Kev, you know what this is?
I think we need help on this one. Okay, when you highlighted this one and picked it up, I was going to be so impressed. I thought you actually knew what it was.
Yeah, but
no, you don't know what any of these are.
I can't even, dude. Just by looking at it, it looks like a big stupid eel, gigantic eel. Is there anything about a gigantic eel cryptid? That's got to be an eel. Man, I just said the word eel way too much in a short period of time. What do you got, buddy?
I'm looking at it. Hold on. There we go. Eel cryptid.
Eel cryptid. Eel won't shut up.
No, not seeing anything, dude.
All right. You know what?
Let me pass.
I'm going to give it a D because I never even heard of it. I can't even identify it. All right? Let's move on to, oh boy, we're going to get the ones we just have no fucking clue. What is this right here? That's the owl and a wolf. That's an owl and a wolf.
Owl and a wolf.
All right.
Nah.
Well, you know what? Owl and a wolf. Kev, have you ever seen that?
No, I have not.
I have no idea what that is.
Have you ever seen? You know what? Hold on a second. Hold on. Give me a second, guys. Because I know what we're at.
Legos?
Yeah, we can do Legos. You guys want to do HBO? We can do
fun.
All right.
Sex in the City.
Look, what do you want to do? You want to do
Game of Thrones? Hell yeah.
No, I don't know. I never. I didn't. I'm sorry. Didn't watch it.
Mike, do it.
No, I'm not gonna watch it now and then have to really quickly do this.
Oh no, you gotta do it. It's totally worth it. It's totally.
We can do food and drink.
What?
Oh my god.
We don't know any more of those. We don't know what they are. I thought there was an alien on there. Wasn't there an alien on there? Wasn't a ghost? Like there wasn't anything else.
Kev, you know what? You want to break it down? You want to break it down old school style here? Let's do this old school style, Kev. Let's go through them. All right. Here's what I've heard of. We're gonna put these down. Bigfoot. All right. There's ghosts, demons. There's what are they called? Elementals. There's aliens.
What about angels?
UFOs, angels.
Demons.
I wrote that. There's haunted dolls and stuff like that.
Yep. Keep going.
Haunted locations. Haunted.
Not just
locations.
dolls, but possessed items.
There you go, possessed.
Attachments.
All right.
And
then all right, let's start with just those. Let's just start there.
Not that much.
If we're using the same scale of D, C, B, and we're gonna just use A as we believe it. A is we 100% behind it. B, we're pretty much there. C, nah, not really. And D, we just don't believe it. Right? Okay. Bigfoot. Now,
Well, at one time, yeah. Again, I think it's like an ancient creature that maybe was around once and is no longer.
all right. I don't know about this one.
Sorry,
I have a hard time with this one because here's the negative. I feel like we don't get any new information, or that anything new that's gonna like change my opinion. Let me put it that way. But there's just something about the outdoors, the woods, and this idea of Bigfoot existing. Like, again, we've talked about how if we believe in spirits, well, then why couldn't we believe in a spirit that still walks the woods of a species that doesn't exist? Right? That's what some people say, right? That they say Bigfoot could be paranormal, could be hiding in holes in the ground. They come up with all these theories about Bigfoot, right? We heard, what, maybe 5 different, all the way to religious? Like, how many different versions of Bigfoot do we hear, right? So there's all these forms of Bigfoot. So are we saying that we're lumping them all forms together and saying that it totally doesn't exist? Or, because I would say it's like a C, maybe a B. C plus. Because I think there is something that people are seeing. I don't know.
The one piece of Bigfoot evidence I've ever seen that's ever been credited for anything. Some people shoot it down. Some people said it's like biblical. It's like gospel. Is that video of I'm not sure the name of it. It was taken in like 1974. It's Bigfoot crossing the river. I think it's in Washington State. And I'm not even sold on that, dude. There's people that will come on here and say, "Oh yeah, it's 100%. I'm good." Maybe, but I've seen like people try and shoot it down, and it's got some pretty good credibility for a shoot down for like a guy in a suit. So I don't know.
C? Let's give it a C, right?
Yeah, I can live with a C, because like we're not in every single area of the woods all the time. There could be something out there, but I would tend to say there's probably not. Like there's probably, because they have to breed, they have to raise baby Bigfoots, baby big feet, like the whole thing, and like somehow keep the whole thing, keep the species going. I just don't really see it. Like the amount of food they'd have to eat to survive, you can't just do that walking around eating berries.
I thought they just put their head in the water, right?
What?
Shake it around. Don't they just slam their heads in the water and goony google? Isn't that how the Bigfoot eats? That's what I was told as a kid, right? Let me ask you this: you guys believe in gypsies?
Yeah, gypsies.
What kind?
Do you believe in the fact? All right. Do you believe in the fact that gypsies have some sort of power?
No.
All right. So that's all right. So that's like you can't just limit that to gypsies. It's like,
all right. What about
voodoo,
what about diva gypsy sisters?
Well, yeah, they can be crazy, but I don't know about powerful.
It's funny that you say that, but yeah. But what I'm saying is, you know how they seem to have, they think they have like almost superpowers with the way that they are, the way that they live. It's like a little different. It's slightly touching the realm. Does that make any sense?
I don't. Gypsies were an actual people that existed in Europe.
Yeah, I know.
They traveled the countryside and whatnot, and they were very earthy. So maybe there's something to it. Maybe it's just like silly magic stuff. The
Gypsy King was a heavyweight champion of the world. Still is, right? He hasn't been beaten yet. The Gypsy King, right? No, I mean serious. That's what he calls himself. He's a gypsy. He was a gypsy growing up. He fought his family. I'm talking about Tyson Fury. His family and his wife's family were like the best bare knuckle boxers of the gypsy clans in his area, or wherever he's from, a country. And they said if we ever make a son together, he'll be heavyweight champ of the world. Tyson Fury, king of the gypsies. However, I've talked to gypsies before, and like I said, they seem to have that. I don't want to say Wiccan. That's different. They seem to have that like thing going on that I want to throw that out at you. All right, demons and angels. Kev.
Oh, go ahead. Good.
I don't. I'm gonna pass to Buddy. I'm gonna cede my time to the gentleman to my south.
Demons and angels. It's too religious to me. I like to keep research and investigation, anything like that I do, away from anything religious. It just not that I'm anti-religion. It's just it doesn't tie a scientific. I don't know, not that paranormal investigation is at all scientific, but I like to just separate it. For me, angels and demons is just a representation of positive and negative forces or energy in the universe. It's just a name that people give it.
All right.
So,
okay, you want to go, Kev? Because
yeah,
I'll go.
the thing that gets me with all that is it's very like we talk about from like a Christian point of view, like that kind of background, and that's the part I have a problem with. That's why when we talk to people that talk about like exorcists and exorcisms, and like, okay, well, what if you're not Roman Catholic? Like, what do you do like for the rite of exorcism? And like we've had some people talk about it. That's the part that gets me, because there's 7 or 8 main like religions in the world, and there's all the other sub ones. And when you say angels and demons, you kind of have to hit it from all different angles. Do I think there's a spiritual like something that's like the spiritual center that's like a oneness? Yes. Do I think there's good and evil? Yes. But when you say, is like Archangel Michael real? I don't know. Is Lucifer the devil real? I don't know. But there's definitely good and evil, and I think there's some spirituality there.
Yeah,
right.
You could throw that up in the A category, I think.
All right, no wait. So let me just touch on that. So if there's one thing that I think has increased for me throughout the whole 10 months of doing this, is definitely the idea of angels and demons. And I don't know if they necessarily take the form of what we think a demon looks like or what we draw an angel as. But there is definitely a pull in every aspect of paranormal. There's a pull of bad and good. There's something there's a good part of this that could come from it, but there's also a real negative. It's like I can't explain it. If there's one thing I do believe in more now, is of positive energy versus negative energy. The ability to create it, the ability to be around it, the ability to sense it. So do I believe like when Chris DeCesare was being haunted, and that was like, he felt like it was religious, he had like a demon feeling? I believe that. I think if that's the form that it takes in your suffering, you can manifest a demon, my friend. And I think in the angel form, I don't know, there's been so many sightings of supposed angels throughout all the years. You wonder if they're just something else or what it is about them. But the form of an angel, it's very much stuck like in all pop culture. Like, everybody pictures an angel the same way. So it's like, I don't know. I go 2 ways. And Kev, I think you touched on it when you said about the whole Christian thing. I feel like when it gets too religious, I start to shy away. But now that I'm older, I think to myself, all the stuff that they've pre-programmed me to shy away from, I wonder if I should be paying more attention to it. If that makes any sense. So I'm like, why did it seem like they squashed like religion on us so much? Like they broke up religion, in my opinion. Like they say, it's like going into a roller skating rink on a Wednesday night. There's nobody there anymore, and it looks like nobody's touched the skates in months. You know what I mean? So it's like nobody goes anymore. So it's like you lost that community. That was a big part of the community. When I was a kid and we all went to St. Anthony's, we were much closer as a community, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm getting with that? Like, so I don't know. Sometimes I think the religions, they got to be right? They're all on the same path. They're all telling you the same thing. It's just that at the end, they all go their own way. It's almost like paranormal, Kev. Everybody wants to get their own credit. So at the end, every religion goes their own way, and they're like, nah. It's this guy named Joe from Utah. I swear to you, it's him. You know what I mean? I just think it's messed up. So I believe in them. I'm going to give them a B in a long about way. Moving to elementals. Now, this is like Dungeons and Dragons meets Ghosts. This is when, like, yeah, right? When you get like like you're near the water on the ocean, the fact that there's a water elemental. Again, if you're going to believe in any kind of positive or negative, demons, if you're going to believe in spirits, wouldn't an elemental exist?
All right. I'm sorry. I gotta start with this one. I've always been a show me kind of guy in the paranormal field.
You told me that.
To believe it, I gotta hear it to believe it. I gotta experience it to believe it. However, with elementals, I've always been like, people will say, "Oh, it's an elemental in the corner." I'm like, like, show me proof, show me something. However, with elementals, there's said to be like elementals like Hawkmoth Swamp and Bridgewater Triangle. A lot of natives experience, Native Americans experience elementals and elemental presences, like the spirit of the sea or the spirit of like the forest. I don't know. I'm yet to, I guess, experience an actual sighting of an elemental. I don't know if I would know what it was when I saw it if I did, but I'm like middle of the road.
Kev?
Yeah, so kind of what Buddy said, take it a little bit further. You're basically saying at this point that, you know, the Earth is alive and it's spiritual, and like the Fore River near the USS Salem is somehow has some spiritual energy, like in the river itself. It's not a person, it's not a place, it's not a memory that's been remembered. It's like it's been there, it's always been there. It's almost like the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings type of stuff, and the woods have spirits and the water has spirit. Like, I don't really believe that, and it could be that like we completely got past it, because with the whole monotheism thing, that we went away from all the lesser gods and everything, we just have one, and maybe we're wrong, but that's how, the way I see it, I say no.
So in a way, there was spirituality and people tried to make it religion, right? So spirituality, though, exists, in my humblest opinion, in all living things. So if it's alive, it's just like, it's not just us that's alive. Like, you know what I mean? Everything else is. I know that's a dumb statement. It's just true. And we just refuse to like acknowledge that on a daily basis. But everything else has got its own agenda, its own life, its own reason for going around. So to me, spirituality is something like the vibes you get when you're around something, that kind of stuff. I think that's all connected. I think people took all that, put a bunch of rules to keep people in place,
Right.
and then they just packaged it out, you know, sent it out, and we won't talk about the priests. Possessed dolls, possessed items.
Yes, absolutely. Anything attached, anything spiritual. Like I said, I have the item I have here in the house. I showed it on a show a few weeks ago, and I definitely feel
You have it
nowadays when I touch
it. Where is it?
It is. It might be right next to me. I gotta take a look.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Things like that exist in the Varnum Armory. I knew somebody that bought a doll thinking that'd be haunted because he wanted to have the experience. So when they got the doll in his house, it completely took over his house, and he had to have people come in and do a whole exorcism and all that silly shit. And I think dolls are freaky to begin with. My mother has dolls upstairs, and I want to like throw a blanket over them. When I walk by, they just freak me the fuck out, and they're weird. So fuck dolls. But yeah, I think attachment, it can get like a weapon, or like a pair of gloves that are soaked in blood, or a Bible that you write in every day and you're in war, and then like you die holding that. But I think energy can be left in certain items. I'll try and find that as you guys yap about this topic.
So I want to ask Buddy to talk about a little more, because at the last question with the elementals, we're kind of like, he was kind of on the negative side of that. So
yeah,
so Buddy, is it more? There it is. So
it feels weird holding it right now. I get weirded out holding it nowadays. I never did. I've had it in my possession for years.
Just hold it a little more manly than that, please. Thank you. There you go.
Buddy, so we were saying like the spirituality thing, the elementals, all that. We kind of have some questions on, but you believe that negative energy could be imparted on an object. Like from who? From what? Like, where does the negative energy come from? And how does it stay?
Like for something like that was used in various unsolved murders, more than likely, or it assaulted many people. In its use and its time in this world, or that energy there's energy that comes from emotion. You know, like you walk into a room. If there's been a fight in a room, and you walk into the room, you can feel the tension. You can feel the tension in a room when you walk in. You don't know what's going on, but you know that something happened, right? So that energy, I don't know how it happens, but it definitely. I'm 100%.
But buddy, so that same energy could be with you in the woods, and you feel Bigfoot's there, or that same energy could be with you, and you see an elemental. You see what I'm trying to tell you? You're working off the negative, positive energy, and I'm attaching that to everything that they've created. So if that can exist, a doll that's possessed, why can't the others, Kev?
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Also, like
I don't
that's
think it's the same. I don't think I'm equating Bigfoot to a spiritual. I think it's more of was an animal at one time,
Yeah.
whereas like these items, like the doll, like a possessed doll, I think it goes all back to, like, if you want to talk about Haitian voodoo, it's like putting like energy into an item, or like putting intentions into something. I think it's just like ESP. People have these. Some people can like control things with their mind, or people can read each other's mind. I think we use a little bit more than some people can use, maybe a little bit more than their mind than the rest of us can. And
all right. So, buddy, I think it's kind of like with the elemental stuff in the like the woods are supernatural. Like that's coming from like the earth or whatever. You see, and I think I'm in agreement with you. But whereas an object, like there's some kind of like human energy, like some kind of negative, maybe it's negative personality, negative force imparted into that, versus like a river just being a spirit.
A river, for me, as a paranormal investigator, like if this like the Salem, it's located on the Fall River. So I think like the movement of the water creates energy, right? You put a wheel in the water and it would like spin, and that we had our mills over the years that gained energy from the water just by spinning that wheel. I think there's a tremendous amount of energy in running water, in that they say it's held in rock, in certain kinds of rock, like granite for one, that's popular here in Rhode Island. And I don't know if it's related, but I don't know. For me, it's made the difference for me in a few different cases where I think it could be connected. I don't know, maybe.
So, Kev, haunted dolls?
What?
Kev, haunted dolls? Possessed dolls?
I think, yeah, objects with some kind of energy. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say like A or B.
All right,
Going A.
that's definitely a hard one, right? Like that's a hard one to believe. But I like the whole voodoo aspect, and like I said, I think when you go way back, there's negative and positive energy, and if someone can have any control of that energy, then I guess they could trap it, right? It could get trapped on something.
I got a quick story to tell about attached objects. Okay, so the first time we investigated the Barnum Armory back in 2016, they had lent this hat that they had. It belonged to a soldier in the Revolutionary War. He was United Train of Armory. He was in the Battle of Long Island in 1776. He was shot in the back of the head by the British. The hat was preserved at the Armory. The Armory lent it to the Museum of the American Revolution. So we didn't even see it. It wasn't in the initial tour. It wasn't in the secondary tour. We had never even heard of the hat. I had never even known of this hat at all. We went there with the medium that night. We were in a room up in the second floor of the Armory, in this old closet. And she's like, "There's a man here." And she's talking to the vice president, Tim. He's like, she keeps saying, "Hats off to you." And she starts talking about this hat. She starts talking about this guy. She knows specifics about this guy. She knew that he was married. She knew that he had children. She knew that he had letters to his wife that she didn't want him to be off at war because he was a father. He should be home with his children, yada, yada, yada. He had like 4 young kids. And then he ended up dying in 1776. So we go downstairs not thinking that Tim, he didn't reveal anything to her. He's like, "Oh, yeah, okay, all right. And we get downstairs and he says to Patrick, who's on our show before, he's like, "She knew about the hat." I couldn't believe she knew about the hat. She knew about the hat. Well, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, the hat that we went to the American Revolutionary Museum in Philadelphia like 2 months ago. It hasn't been here. And there's this guy. She's talking about this guy, giving very specific details about this guy who wore that hat. So in my mind, yes, 100% attachment theory. Absolutely. I've seen it with my own eyes.
All right. So I'll give it an A, I guess.
I'm going to go A.
All right. Here's one for you, boys. Mediums. People who can supposedly speak to spirits.
I got a lot to say.
I'm not going to talk first. Kevin, I'll let you go.
I tend to disbelieve. As a general statement, I tend to disbelieve. I don't. I think it's been like it's been around for hundreds of years, probably longer than that. I think everyone wants to believe it's true. I think there's a lot of ways to capitalize on it. There's a lot of ways to fake it. There's just so many just holes in the whole thing. But if you like, if someone said to me, "There's one person that can actually do it," I'd probably believe you, and they could prove it to me somehow. But I would say 99.9% are frauds, and it's a waste of time, and it's a waste of money, and it's a waste of watching a TV show, all that stuff. But if someone said, look, this person actually can, and there's this one person, I would probably believe it.
All right, so wait, let me preface this. Here's, I think, what the issue is. First of all, you're asking a couple of Italians. We're just a little bit more skeptical. We're trying to figure out how you're trying to screw us over. We're trying to figure out, like, where is the trick?
Yeah.
So when I'm speaking with the medium, I'd be lying if I wasn't telling you, is she reading body language? What is she doing right now? What does she know about me from the past? What is she pulling up that maybe she only knows from, like, a Facebook post? So I think because of all that skepticism, right off the jump with them, because I feel like, they're hiding the ball in the shells, that I have a hard time with them. Now, I have seen moments where they seem oddly right on. So I think my issue is this. Look, I think that, so say someone's a medium. I think that just because they're a medium, that doesn't mean that they get every single thing to come through and to be correct. So they could get bullshit, something real, bullshit. But to me, that's still impressive. But yet they all want to be known that they can completely talk. And on every session, they're going to just sit there and immediately it comes flooding in and they can do this.
Yeah.
That's where I have the problem. I believe it. I believe it's real. I just don't believe there's so many of them and that they can do it just like I can hit a button and lock my car. Buddy?
Are you ready? Okay. So, Buddy's opinion on mediums. When I first got into investigating the paranormal, I had a ton of people come to me. Oh, I'm a medium. I can talk to dead people. Like, oh, okay. I'd love to investigate with you. And of course, I would let them go ahead. Tell me what's going on. Do I have follow me or what? Tell me something about me. And some people could, some people couldn't. And so over the years, that's how I would test them. I asked them about me. I'm like, go ahead, tell me about me. Tell me about what's going on. I've worked with about 3 or 4 mediums in my group over the years. I use different ones. Sometimes I use multiple in a case. All of them have tested and passed. All of them could tell me something like very uniquely personal. As far as now, granted, over the last 100 years, mediums are like, of course, hey, I talk to dead people. I know this, I know that, and like, all right, there's a lot of fakers. Yes, there's a lot of fakers, and that's why I want them to tell me something cool. There's this guy, Roland Comtois. I'd love to have him on our show. He's not yet doing a lot of shows yet. He took Corona was like really tough on him. This guy's incredible. This guy has not only told me, like, picked me out of an audience of about 200 people, told me really not only personal, not asked me anything. He didn't ask me anything. And that's the thing with mediums. Like, I get skeptical when they ask me, do you need somebody? I'm seeing somebody with an M, letter with an M, or maybe with an R. They're full of shit. It's the people who will tell you, I can see your grandmother Pauline, and she's standing above you right now, and she's saying, you should have quit smoking cigarettes. Somebody, or they'll just tell you something like very unique, or like this guy Roland. He's got these purple paper messages that he does. He'll just write them out. They'll come in here and he'll just write. He knew how many people were in my wife's room the day she died in the hospital. He knew the number. He knew intimate moments. The morning she died. She died like in the apartment. They brought her back to life. They got her heart beating. She was put on a machine for the weekend for everybody to get around. Her mother to come back from South Carolina. And when she was pulled off the machine, she passed quietly. But he knew like really intimate details, shit that I didn't tell anybody. He knew them. Okay. He knew like nicknames that I had for her that I'd only use with me and her. So there is no way that you could know some of these things that, like, Tiffany Rice, another medium that I hope to get on the show. She knew about like intimate details about Heather before she passed. She knew about like her grandfather, how he used to carry a coin. He used to always flip a coin, and he was in AA, so he always had the coin, and that was his pride because he had quit drinking for so many years. And just like they don't always like, hey, your grandfather Bill, he's right here, he loves you, and they don't always tell you the full story. They get like blips,
Yeah.
and they'll try, or it's their own perspective, or some of them can hear, some of them can see, some of them get messages in their mind, some of them get emotions. I have another medium booked in October, and I've actually worked with this woman. I've tested her myself. She's worked with a few different paranormal groups, so she's really good. And I'm trying to get Tiffany on the show and hopefully rolling someday. But yes, I do believe in mediums. I do believe that they are fake, but I do believe that the ones that are real, they're not going to like make guesses about you. They're going to come in, they're going to say, hey, look. And they're going to say things personal to you, and they're going to say direct statements to you, and they're going to blow your fucking mind.
All right, well, then here's my question. Is it the medium that has all the energy, or is it half them and half you because they pick you out of the audience?
They call this a veil, right? Like your ability to see, your ability to hear. Some people have a thicker or a thinner veil. Like I would say I have a thinner veil than the two of you because I've been doing this for a little bit longer. Sometimes I'll hear something with my own ears, sometimes I'll see something. But it doesn't happen all the time, and they don't come to me all the time. Or they don't, nothing all the time. Other people, it happens all the time. All the time. Other people know when to shut it off and turn it on and shut it off. Other people have no experiences whatsoever. So I think it's just this veil that we describe it as, our vision to see the dead or the spirits or the energy, whatever we're seeing, whatever we're experiencing, or the soul, whatever. I think each one of us have a different openness to it. Maybe you get a little bit more open if you work with energy, do stuff like Reiki, Qigong. It's a Japanese meditation with energy, Reiki, stuff like that. If you do stuff like that, maybe you open yourself up to it a little bit more. Maybe if you do mediumship, maybe if you do shamanship, you open yourself a little bit more. Me experiencing, putting myself into the situations itself, and interacting with these people and these energies.
So let me take you one step further.
Please do.
Who are they speaking to? If they're speaking to our relatives, where are our relatives at the moment that they're being spoken to? Like, I know they say they're standing above you, but where do they go after that? Right after your Aunt Pauline is standing over you, telling you not to smoke, where does she go after that?
Maybe she just hangs with you. I don't know. I've been told that I've followed around by various relatives. Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe they come and go. Maybe they're here one.
You don't think that's selfish though, that we think that we got people looking over us? Like, I've always felt like my dad's been around me. I've had moments where I thought I've felt him. And you've had weird instances where you get like a smell that was only his smell, and you are like, what the hell's that? But is that just me, making myself feel?
I don't think so. I like my mother often describes smelling her grandmother who's been dead since 1985, and in the house that we're in, she was never even here. So for her to smell that, just the smell of a person, it's just I had that happen in a house in an investigation in Lincoln, Rhode Island, and it happened to, out of four of us, only happened to two of us. And it was like it was like there was no other perfume in the room. There was no perfume on the cabinet. Nothing. There was nothing. And it was like right here in my face. And it was gone. And it was in the guy's face across the room. And it happened 27 times to both of us within 35 minutes. We smelled it. It was like a strong, like Avon candy was what we nailed it down to. But it was like make my eyes water, like some perfumes make you make me sinusy. I'm maybe allergic to them, and it did. It made my nose filled up with mucus. My eyes watered, and then it was gone, and then it was there, and then it was gone, and then it was there, and then it was gone, and then come to find out, we talked to the people who own the house. It was a 3-tenement. The woman who had lived on the second floor for years and years and years never bathed and always bathed herself in Avon candy was her perfume, and that was definitely a sweet smelling perfume that I was smelling. So
what's funny is you can't even call that. They used to call that. They would call it a French shower, and that was just basically because the French used to just put on cologne or perfume instead of bathing.
Right.
But now I think that's probably offensive. That's probably offensive, right? Right. If I was like, Kev, you wop, that's offensive, right?
Right.
But it's coming from one Italian to another, so it's no longer offensive.
You can say it because you're both Italians, right? But if I called you a wop, it'd be wrong.
Nah, I wouldn't mind. Kev, would you?
Just don't call either one of us Fredo, because that's a humongous insult.
Other than that, we're good.
Chris Cuomo straightened that out. Do not call an Italian person Fredo.
Yeah, we're good with that.
What does that mean, Fredo? I've never even heard of that.
Let's throw a couple more in there. Kev, gold diggers. Do they exist?
I'm just gonna go with a B, just to be a gentleman's B. We'll go with.
All right, buddy, gold diggers.
Yeah, absolutely, they're about maybe 15% of the population.
Wow,
they're all among us.
Wow, all right.
Right.
On that same token, moronic men who still need to see signs that say domestic violence is wrong. Do you believe that those guys still exist?
They do.
Would you say there's as many as those as there are gold diggers?
Yeah, it's probably about the right. Yeah, it's probably about a 1-to-1 ratio.
I'm gonna say it's a 3-to-1 ratio.
All right.
I can't believe we have to still put that out, as an infomercial or one to grow on commercial, with somebody from Friends. The fact that we still have to put that out there is ridiculous. I think we would figure it out by now. Kev, UFOs.
Oh, hey, that's a definite. It's kind of strange, but I look at anyone that doesn't believe that there's other intelligent life in the universe. I don't think it's very bright, because the odds are just so high. It's almost like a mathematical certainty that there has to be other intelligent life out there somewhere. Now, okay, fine. Do they get here? That's another question. What are they doing here? That's another question. But I think they're probably reconnaissance missions of some sort, or something like that. But I go with A.
Buddy,
we're just saying UFOs, not aliens. UFOs.
Just UFOs, 100%. You couldn't convince me. Yeah, there's been so many sightings over the hundreds and hundreds of years. There's no way in hell you could say, no, it doesn't exist. We're the only creatures in this entire universe. You're an idiot.
All right, well, let me say this then. So I keep saying this, and I'll repeat it. With the increase of UFOs and with the government acknowledging the fact of UFOs, I have now switched to where I'm telling you I think that it's drones and technology that we don't have from either China or Russia. And again, let me just explain why. You're at home and there's news that breaks. Goes across the screen like that, right? First one says, government declares official UFOs not of this world, right? Same news, across the screen. It says government officials declare UFO sightings were actually drones from either A, China, or B, Russia. You're watching soap operas, that comes across the screen. Which one makes you freak out and react? Because with the UFOs, the way they've browbeat it and got us down to the point where it's like, yeah, we know. Tic Tacs, I get it. And they use cute little names like Tic Tacs. So you're like, it's a Tic Tac guy. What's a Tic Tac? How harmful is a Tic Tac? It's helpful. You need a Tic Tac most of the time. So it's like, oh, it's cute. Look at it. What would you react to worsely? Because I'll tell you the truth. If I found out those things flying like that, dropping like that, moving like that were from Russia or China, I'd go outside and start digging my bunker tomorrow. Shovel. I would dig a hole as big as I could. You guys are trying to tell me you'd be more scared about the UFO thing?
Honestly, for me, if you start with the initial UFO sightings in Roswell, New Mexico, 1947, China wasn't even a communist nation. They weren't even on the map, on the radar at all. Russia was just out of World War II, had just annihilated a third of that.
Those were all saucers, bud. Those were all very similar sources. What was Back then, we're all
the same
similar.
species of
Now we're
alien. I
getting
don't know.
triangles. We're getting like these Tic Tacs. We're getting all these beautiful things.
Different species. They evolved. Maybe they made like our cars have changed in the last 10 years. Forget about the last 50 or 100 years. So I mean, maybe they just upgraded. Like think about the biplane.
What would you be more scared of?
The jet
What
engine
would you-
now.
What would you be more scared of?
The government making it up, or the China Russia, or the scared the aliens, because I know China Russia. I don't know the aliens.
Kev? Yes, you're on mute. You'd have to unmute it first.
It depends what you're talking about. Like the big ones. Like I always mention Phoenix Lights. Like if like the Phoenix Lights one was something like there's no way you could ever explain that with like China Russia like technology. The Tic Tac stuff, they're tiny. Could be a drone. Maybe it is. I could kind of see that, and I wouldn't be that afraid. What I would wonder though is how are they in our airspace? How do they get into the airspace? How do they leave? Who was actually controlling it? That would worry me. But if you ever said Phoenix Lights was a Chinese prototype spaceship, I wouldn't even start digging a bunker. I would just give up completely. The
Go out
bunkers
drinking.
Yeah.
Go out drinking. I'm just saying, look, why can't there be different types of UFOs? Or why can't there be UFOs and now the stuff that they're claiming are UFOs, they're kind of lumping it in so we swallow it?
Yeah, it's a whole thing. That's what I was saying. Like, there's different kinds. It's like, like big, huge ones versus like little, tiny ones. I think they're entirely different. I don't think you can compare them the same.
So, are you a little then untrustworthy of what the government's showing us as footage of UFOs?
Well, like just the Tic Tac stuff, like the
all the stuff they've shown, like all the things they keep showing. That's it's always like in black and it's always like in like a heat, like looking shot or something. Because they don't own cameras, you know. I'm just saying. It's like Bigfoot's always blurry, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Trying to say, like, I think the new stuff might not be real. How about that? That's, I guess, where I'm leaning. I'm being serious. Why do you, when they give it to you, when they just serve it to you, that's when you don't believe it. Like again, I guess that's the Italian in me. But when they make it so easy and obvious, then there's a reason. You're being played. You're being controlled a little bit. So I think seeing the Phoenix Lights things and there's been a couple other ones are totally different than like the Tic Tac videos. The fighter pilots got the thing going down, and it's just like I don't know. I'm just saying if there's anything they're gonna fix and make fake, that for some reason more and more every day seems to me like I don't know. They never told us before. They never wanted to tell us. And don't go telling me, with the internet guy, with the internet and everybody with a smartphone guy. Oh, come on. How are we not going to find out? Right. They control everything. Lastly, the government's control. No, I'm kidding. Aliens. Last one will be aliens. Now, this I mean by visitation by aliens. There's that show on Netflix of that guy that I believe was visited by aliens a bunch of time. But then they show that stupid window shot where the alien head looks up.
No. I know what you're talking about.
It looks like the worst job ever. But I believe that guy. It's what the freak's his name?
No.
Balazar.
The guy it does this.
Yeah.
No.
Balazar, the one where it pops up in the window for 2 seconds, and he goes. His reaction is, ooh. He goes over. Where'd you go?
No, that whole guy has zero credibility. Zero credibility. No way.
I liked everything he said. Everything he said in that whole thing, except for that head coming up. That head coming up, look.
Dude, that's enough.
It looked so stupid and fake. I was like, I literally was at that moment that I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? You know that moment where you're like, you buy into something and you go, what the am I watching? What did I just like, are you serious? Wouldn't you edit that from the movie? Like, even if it's real, even if that you really believe you saw that, for the sake of the movie, to get people to believe you, wouldn't you have removed that dumb, rubbery alien head from pop? Dude, it looks like he's peering in a window. Like, you baking a pie? What's going on in here? You guys cooking? Like, it's the dumbest. Kev, I'm glad you saw what I saw because
Yeah.
when I saw that head pop up and then the way it disappeared, like that's
So
how I
silly.
do puppets. I do puppets. I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
No, that blew the whole credibility on the whole thing. I'm sorry, but what I have been watching a lot of recently is stuff on like megalithic structures, like the big huge rocks that weigh like 50 to 100 tons, and somehow they're all placed like it's like a jigsaw puzzle where you can't even fit a piece of paper in between them. Like that's like those questions need to be answered. Like the pyramids, how can we go to sleep every night not knowing how the pyramids were built? We have like the smartest civil engineers in the world. They can't tell you how the pyramids were built. How do you sleep at night? They're 6,000, they're like 4,000 years old.
They should definitely figure that out by now. I'll give you that one. This time they don't even attempt.
Honestly, the only answer I can give into that, they had slave labor for one. The Egyptians enslaved the Hebrew people and various other peoples that they conquered. And didn't care about their working environments or what have you. So I'd imagine they just worked.
Yeah, but buddy.
Ian, okay, so the boulder, moving a heavy boulder theory. I was moved not a porch. It was an outhouse, but it was built in 1830.
Oh my God! Here we go.
We moved it to Nathaniel Green from a place in West Warwick. So we had to move this giant outhouse across like this field of probably like 30 feet or so. Which doesn't seem that far, but to move like it's like moving a Toyota. Put it on did it very old school. Put two like boards down and just kind of like rolled it across the boards. But that's how they would have moved stuff back in those days. They would have used like very simple mechanics like that. That, in my opinion, I don't think the aliens built the pyramids. I think the Jews
I don't actually think it's aliens either, but I don't know what it is, and like some of the stuff's cut with such precision. Like we need answers to this stuff.
Yeah,
what else did they have going on, Kevin?
Buddy,
what else was going on?
Buddy,
that's what I said last night. That's what I said to my girlfriend last night. They had infinite time.
What the hell were they doing?
Right?
There was no sports.
Yeah.
They weren't like drinking any good beers.
But slave labor can't make somebody lift a gigantic piece of stone and put it someplace up high. Like I get slave labor.
Mechanics, Michael. Mechanics.
Oh, just mechanics. So then why has it not been explained if it's mechanics?
I don't know, dude. People are missing the boat, I think.
You just assigned to it a scientific way of breaking it down. Mm-hmm. Mechanics.
Right.
There's no mechanics that explains how they were built.
Pulley, the wrench, the lift system. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe not, but I don't think fucking aliens made the temples. I think the Jews did over like 200 years. I don't think it took 5 years to build it. I don't think the governor hired the guys to come down and build it. But I think it was like probably a couple of 100 years. I don't think it was anything magical though. I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe I'm wrong.
Buddy, before we wrap up, if you want to tell us who's coming up next week and anything else you want to add.
Yes, I'd like to thank our guests this week, the three of us. I think we did a fucking awesome show. And tune in next week. We have almost an equally great show. Bob Christopher, he's the co-organizer of the Penhurst Paracon. He does ghostly excursions. He's the owner and founder of Ghost Detectives. He's the owner of Vortex Ghost Gear. So he makes some of the ghost gear that investigators like myself use while in the field. And he's the co-founder of NEPA. I think it's Northeastern Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, Bob. I don't know the name of your group. But he's from Pennsylvania. And they have a lot of football teams that we can talk about. So tune in next week for Bob Christopher. Bob's a great guy.
Kev?
I want to say we never touched on Dogman. I'm going to give Dogman like a C+. I think we need to get somebody on there to talk about that, buddy. We gotta find somebody to talk about Dogman.
Right.
But
we never talked about voodoo. I wanted to get more into like voodoo dolls and shit. But I'll find a Haitian that knows about that.
Cool. All right. And then besides that, I'm going to watch some videos. Some YouTube on the megalithic structures, and I'll report back next week to disclaim all of Buddy's assertions.
I want to just add the Ouija board before we leave.
The Ouija board.
That thing scares me a lot. Like, I have a hard time with Ouija boards. I don't know why they keep making them. I don't get the whole gist behind. Like why are we making them? The people that worked in Rhode Island that worked at Hasbro, didn't they make the Ouija boards? Aren't those the ones that said they wasn't it?
Parker Brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
Parker Brothers.
Scumbags.
Yeah, the Ouija board I don't agree with. Let's wrap this up. We have the next show. Kev, help me out here. What night are we next? Thursday?
Thursday. Yep, Barfangul.
Barfangul and fantasy football. Right? We're going to be doing 2, 7, 8, 8 to 9. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Legit Paranormal for August 15th, 2021. For Buddy there, for the genius Kev, it is me, Mike Lepre, King Michael. This was Legit Paranormal. Thank you for listening to us this week. We look forward to seeing you next week. We